Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tammy Patzer.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm happy to introduce you to today's guest, Shirley Grosor. Now, Shirley is a soul whisperer. She works with women who are looking to know, accept, and love themselves on all levels. Welcome, Shirley.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Tell me more, Shirley, about what a soul whisperer is and how you help people.
Sure. I have the unique gift of being able to actually connect with people at a much deeper level and to recognize the whispers that are in their heart and soul, to the things that they are afraid to face, the truths that they try to keep, that either they keep tamped down or others have tried to tamp down within themselves. And I connect with that, and I help those people connect with those inner truths also.
So can you give me some examples of what some of the things are that people try to keep down that you're able to help them work through?
Well, sure. Quite often people get caught up in the I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not blah, blah, blah. And those are simply messages that we've been trained in society that if you think better of yourself, that you're being egotistical or selfish. And so we energy, all the energy around us in the society, if you look at it, it's trying to keep us in our place. And in fact, you were born with a purpose. You were born with passion. You were born with a mission. And I can guarantee there is not one person that is here to play small. There is not one person that is not good enough or just plain enough. And so I help you see where your own strength and power is. I help you reconnect and realign with that purpose that you came to this earth with. And once you're better aligned and remembering your purpose, then it's much easier to live in a state of purpose. And I also think that that's also a state of gratitude.
So gratitude, it's interesting because today gratitude has been coming up a lot as I talk to people. And I know that you call these blessings and lessons. Can you tell me more about some of these issues and how you help people solve them? And I know you talked about people being taught from an early age, but go ahead and clarify that.
Sure. Matter of fact, if we have a few hours, I can easily talk on gratitude and the blessings. Through my own experiences, I have learned to live in a state of gratitude. I used to live in a state of victimhood. I was the perfect martyr. I was not worthy, and therefore I was not good enough to go into even fancy stores or to talk to people that appeared to have it all together. And then my world was shaken by my daughter's death. She was 3 months short of 20, and she died in a car accident. But you know what? That was the biggest win in my life. And the reason is that provided me the opportunity to step out of victimhood and to step out of being a martyr and to be grateful for every single thing. And yes, I can feel gratitude for my daughter's death and the experience of it because it helped me to accept and embrace that I am here for a reason, and that reason is to help other people. And my reason is to help teach people that when you release victimhood and all that goes along with it, that you then live in a state of gratitude. And when you're in a state of gratitude, everything works out. It doesn't mean you don't have crap happen, but you find the blessing in it. And there's a blessing and a lesson in every single event, whether it be the day you became a mother because you gave birth, or you adopted a child, or you inherited a child, and all those blessings and lessons from that, or the day you flunked out of college because you didn't do enough of your own work. You didn't put out your effort. There's blessings that you've learned that you have to work harder, and the lessons that if you put out the effort, you will succeed. So that's a couple of examples.
Wow, everything that you've said, because I know that when someone hears that you lost your daughter just 3 months shy of 20, the immediate reaction is, well, how could that be a blessing? But then, like you said, it really, opened you up to realize that you have a purpose. I find that really interesting. So some of the women you help, what have you found is holding them back from finding that purpose?
My opinion is it's really a lack of connection with themselves, a lack of accepting themselves exactly as they are, that they're standing in judgment of themselves, that they're comparing themselves to others. Oh, look at Jane Doe. She has it all together. She has no pain in her life, and look at me. I'm a failure. I'm not the best mother in the world. I'm not the best daughter in the world. Well, yeah, you are, because you're doing your best. And so a lot of times, most times, it's that they're comparing, or they have this idealistic view of what life is supposed to be like, and idealistic rather than realistic, or the idealistic view of who they are, who they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be doing. Quite often, I also get in touch with women who are they're ready to start new phases. Perhaps their children have grown up, and all of a sudden they're like, I'm not a mom anymore. The kids are grown. They're off to college. They're getting married. They're having their own children. Or perhaps they're at a point where they're getting divorced or widowed, and all of a sudden they have to figure out, who am I without this other partner? And these are some of the blocks that get in our way of letting us live our true purpose. And that's where I can help you to number one, get to accept yourself with all your perceived failings, and really remind you of how superior you are, and you are not, in fact, in lack.
So how do you go about doing that? Can you give me a few examples of how you might go about helping someone to figure out who they are? And also, I know one of the things I personally faced was reinventing myself as when I was in the workforce, from going from, seriously, manual typewriters to electric typewriters to Radio Shack, TRS-80 computer to, of course, computers, laptop computers in the workplace, and understanding that if I didn't get on board this whole digital online thing, I was going to be obsolete. Do you find a lot of people are under a lot of pressure with that?
I think that they fear that. I think that's in my world, in my belief system, everything boils down to two things: love and fear. Everything is either coming from a space of love or fear, and so you fear becoming obsolete, and so you had to get updated. You had to update yourself constantly. And I can see that in women, that they fear becoming obsolete and not mattering anymore. And fear is a terrible place to go. It's always better, when you're in the state of gratitude, you're in a state of love. And so, of course, I would prefer that everyone be in that state of love and gratitude. Fear brings about all those icky feelings within ourselves. And I'd like to go back to the first question that you asked me, but I lost track of what it was.
The very first question, we're talking about basically blessings, and I'm just really curious on some of your strategies, and I know gratitude, but, I think that's a perfect place to start with gratitude, because how in the world can you be grateful if, let's say, maybe you've lost your job? I'll just paint a really dark, fearful picture here. You've lost your job, and I'm going to tell you the truth. This has really happened to me. You lost your job, you are pregnant, and you were literally beaten because the person came home late, and you grabbed your kids in the middle of the night and left. And there you are, 3 kids, pregnant, no place to go. You have a car and no family nearby. If I were, and obviously I was operating in fear, how could someone in a precarious situation like that say, "Hey, I'm grateful"? How would you give them advice so that they could turn the fear around into love?
Okay, very well, in my mind, very easily. Now, this does not happen overnight, but I could at least get them to start thinking of where the blessings are, the blessings and the lessons. And number one, you lost your job. Well, okay, that really sucks. Did that happen so that perhaps you could find a better job? Because as long as you're in one job, you very seldom are looking for another. And you were not in the right, I would present that perhaps you were not in the best job for you, and it really wasn't providing the income that you needed, and it also wasn't providing the opportunity to grow. So sometimes losing your job can be a good thing because it forces you to take new steps and reevaluate. You're pregnant. Wow, that's tough. You've got 3 kids, you've been beaten physically, and you're pregnant with another one. Well, you can always find gratitude for a child coming in. Sometimes it's really, really difficult. Again, this can't happen overnight. But as we work with the strategies that I have in place, I help you remember that it's not all hopeless, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And you're homeless. Well, in order to get you became homeless so that you could get away from the physically abusive person. And perhaps also losing the job freed you up to finally go to a shelter, to get away, to find the people that can help you get stronger, and to show so that you can show your children to not accept what you seem to feel, that there is hope, that you can do better. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and as you told that, I have goosebumps because you're absolutely right. You lose the job that was a dead-end job anyway. You leave a bad situation, and yes, the doors open up to get help because you are at that low point of, oh my God, I'm pregnant, I have kids, we need help. And so if you were someone who didn't go to a shelter before, now it's like, now you do, and you do get the help you need, and you do get the support system in place, and another job does come available that is a much better fit, and you have the baby who grows up to be the best baby in the whole wide world with a big smile on their face all the time.
Exactly.
So I just wanted to point that out because it for two reasons. Because sometimes we look at, like you said earlier, we look at other people, especially in the world of Facebook, and we think everyone's life is so much better than ours, that somehow they're living this magical life and they're going on vacations and trips, and it just appears that their life is so much better when in fact we don't really know what anyone's life is really like. And I think that's really important, to not ever be jealous of somebody else, because you just don't know. You don't know the price that they've paid for anything in their lives. And so I just think that was important. And like you said, Shirley, to find gratitude and to be thankful is the start, and it really shows that you do have that faith, and it's that light, and the more gratitude you have, it's like the more good you're attracted to in life. So I think that's really, really important. Tell me, why do you think people are attracted to you, and how did you become known as the soul whisperer?
Well, the first thing I'd like to address is when you said that you were covered in goosebumps as I was going through and that's a really important thing that I like to talk about. I am directly connected with angels and guides, and goosebumps are and yes, I am completely covered in them too right now. This is a message that's so important for me to get out. Goosebumps or tingles in the tummy or whatever, you might have your own little thing, that's your angels talking to you. And they're saying, this is a true statement. You can believe this. You can trust this. Whatever's being said, whatever moment you're in, and you get the goosebumps, pay attention. This is real. This is true. This is safe.
I've got them again. The hair is standing up on my arms.
Yes, and this is a true statement. This is important. And this is why I'm here. This is why I was born at this time in this life on the earth right now, was so that I could help share these messages that they give to me.
And also, Shirley, just to let you know, when you first started talking, my phone lit up, and it was 11:11.
Of course it was.
So just to let you know.
11:11 says, the most important thing with 11:11 is pay attention. When you see repeated numbers, it might be 717, it might be 555. That's the universe's easy way to say, pay attention. Something big's going on here, and a lot of people align with 11:11 and 1:11, that those are truly the one. That's the angel messages, the God messages. There's a whole realm of people, beings that help us. It's not just God. I believe in God. That's what I call him. You can call him Shu if you want to. It doesn't matter. I believe in the highest power. But I don't believe that I have to only go to that highest power, because God, as I call it, has given us a whole realm. He's given us the angels, the archangels, the guides, the mentors, the loved ones that have passed on. There's a whole spectrum that are there to help us. And so my prayers quite often are, hey, y'all, I need some help here. Because you know what, when it comes down to it, I'm a human. I don't know who I need to help me, but they do. And I know they are there to help me. And I know they are there to help you. And so one of the things that I do when I work with people is I'm the vessel, and my angels and guides connect with your angels and guides. And these entities say, okay, what does she really need to know right now? In order for her to be the best person possible, what message can we send? And people see my light. I shine with a light that helps light up the path for others, and people recognize that in me. And they know that I speak the truth. I'm not into playing games. I don't say things that people want to hear because that's not in your highest good. I'm always talking about what's for your highest good. Because what's for your highest good is also for the highest good of the whole universe. And so people are drawn to me because they see the love, they see the light. They know that I'm a safe place. They know that quite often whatever they say to me, I'm not going to remember because I'm channeling. And so I often tell people, let's record this or make sure you take notes because I'm not going to remember what I'm telling you again. This is channeled messages. I'm simply a telephone, and you want to speak to your angels, then I'm just the phone that you use to do that with.
Well, I definitely know that you are authentic, honest, and always speak with love. And I really do understand when you say a safe zone, because I know many people will tell me things because they feel confident and safe. And it is true, you don't remember. When a lot of times people will tell you things and you really you listen, you acknowledge, and you help them feel heard, and then that's where it is, and they get what they need from that conversation or that interaction with you. And yes, you can, even just looking at your photograph, Shirley, that image of you radiates that out. And I don't know if I told you that, but every time I see your photo on Facebook, it's like it takes me to this really safe, happy place, and it's like, wow, it's that wow feeling that you get when you know that somebody is I guess connected, like you said, the soul connection.
It's just the divine shining through me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can see it.
It's not always there. There's sometimes that I'm just plain old earthly Shirley.
So when you talk about realigning and remembering their soul purpose and tapping into true knowledge, how do you do that with a person? Do you have to be with them in person? Can you do it online? How does this happen, this process where you help people?
That's a really good question. I can do it in person. I can do it on Skype. I can do it online. And there's times that I'm not even connected with a person, but I can still send out the energy and help them. Where I have clients all over the world, and I have set up my business so that it does not need to be in person because we're a very quick-paced world nowadays. And we don't have time necessarily to get in person. Energy is energy. And it's not limited to time or space. And there's a lot of comfort in that, too, knowing that you can work anywhere with me. A lot of times people say, I just really need to be face-to-face with you. And so quite often we can. And sometimes we have to do it through Skype. But that's a good way to do it, too. Skype or Zoom, one of those kind of facilities that they have.
Mm-hmm, because with Skype, what I like about Skype and Zoom is that you can obviously record the video portion also, so that makes it nice. So how long have you, obviously this is a gift. When did you really understand who you were and what your gifts were? Did you always know, or when did it really develop?
I'll tell you, I was born this way, and I knew it at a very, very, very young age, like 2-3 years old. Growing up, I just knew things. I heard things. I saw things. And I thought everybody was like that until they really tried to force it out of me. Like, you're just too weird. But yet, even as a child, friends at school would come to me when they were they're mad at their parent, they're having problems with their parent. And I'm talking like 2nd and 3rd grade even. People were coming to me to help them, which was pretty unusual. I was not a popular child, and especially parents didn't like me very much because I wasn't like everybody else. And let me tell you, I grew up in a Catholic school. And to be a psychic in a Catholic school and to have all these knowledges that I had shook a lot of people up. I really, truly, and so growing up, I always knew these things, and I got premonitions and I got visions, but I really didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to work with it further, and so it was kind of random. And it really was with my daughter's death 6.5 years ago that I heard, this is your opportunity, Shirley. Mom, I left so you could step in to be who you're supposed to be and for you to do the work that you were born to do. And now this was an opportunity. And I said yes. I could have said, no, that's too scary. People might not like me. People are going to think that I'm weird. People are going to say that I'm crazy. I'm going to scare people. And I said yes. I said, yes, I am going to do this. And I'm once again being confirmed by angels with the goosebumps.
Me too.
And I said, yes, I will do my part. I will share the messages. I will help the people at a deeper level, not just me using advice, but totally connecting in and tapping into the divine messages that are coming across. And so the universe immediately started putting things in front of me. The universe put people in front of me that were in desperate need, and they just needed a hug, or they needed to hear a message from a loved one. I had dead people knocking on my head saying, that's my grandson, I want to talk to him. That's my daughter, I want to talk to her. And it was just randomly coming. And I'm like, okay, I see what I can do, but let's ease off on this, okay? Because it got kind of overwhelming. And so I learned to shield myself. And and then I realized that just talking my talk and walking my walk, completely believing in what is available to me outside of my head is what's important. And I even got thrown in front of me healings. I was able to perform a couple of miraculous healings to show that even though I knew I was a healer, to show that it could be the kind of healings that astound doctors. And that filled me with gratitude always. So all of these experiences just reinforced my gratitude that once I opened up, it all started coming to me. And so that's what I share, is that when we release those bondages of fear and those old stories that we've been telling ourselves, that the whole world opens up to us. And that's living in a state of gratitude.
You are absolutely right. And it's so interesting to me. I mean, there's so many things that you said. For example, you had to accept the opportunity and say yes, even though you had all of those fears of people are going to not like me, people are going to think I'm weird, people are going to think I'm crazy, people are going to not like who I am. And despite all that, you chose love. You chose to accept the gift. And then of course, like you said, you had to learn how to shield yourself, because it can become overwhelming when you like you said, you have people knocking on the door saying, hey, I want you to help me to communicate with my loved one.
Oh, no, it was the deceased ones that were knocking on my door.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I see dead people. Like the people on the other side saying, hey, there's my grandson, there's my granddaughter, and that is a gift, to be able to be that middleman or that conduit between the two sides. So what are some of the big misconceptions you've run into about you and your gifts and your services?
Well, one misconception is that I'm going to solve their problems for them, that I'm going to wave a magic wand and they can just sit there and all their problems are going to go away. When in fact, what I do is I ask you the right questions and I help you open up to what's already inside of you so that you can find your own answers. They're already inside of you. I just help bring them out. Another misconception that I get is, let's do this. I want this to happen overnight. We're gonna solve all of my 50 years of problems in one session. Well, that's kind of like dieting. You know, you gained weight over a period of time, and as much as we would love to have that magic pill that takes it off without us having to do the work, you got to do the work. You got to cut back on what you eat. You got to increase your exercise in order to lose the weight. And so if you are having these problems coming up to you and really coming into the forethought of your mind, it's because it's time. And your inner soul is saying, it's time, I want to break away. And it's not going to happen overnight. You know, it's a process. It's a process that I've refined over a period of time. I have strategies to ask the right questions, and you do have to do the work. I make you dig, and sometimes you get really uncomfortable, but when you get through that uncomfortableness, it's like the sun coming out from behind a cloud.
And I'm actually somebody, and I was fortunate enough to hang with you, Shirley, and you told me some things, and I took those to heart, and I've been working on it ever since I met you, which was really only, maybe not even a month ago, but yet yeah. And lo and behold, every day something would open up a little bit more, and then one day it was like I was open to receive, and the floodgates opened. And exactly. You're a big part of that. And that actually, I'm really grateful for that. But that actually brings me to a question about, why do you think that people who really want to work with you or need to discover their purpose and their life's work, why wouldn't they work with you?
You know, it all comes down to fear. Fear of exposing themselves to themselves. Fear that it's not going to work, that they're going to continue to feel lost or unsatisfied. You know, it really all comes down to fear of change. We are humans that like to have status quo. We want to know that everything's going to go along the way it's supposed to. We like to have a routine. We like to just know what's going to happen. And all of a sudden, people who are at that point in their life were like, this isn't working anymore. I hate my job. This is not what I dreamt of as a young child. How can I change it? Well, it's not just the job. It's all about that, dream you had younger. And so working with me makes you face things within yourself that you tried to hide away from or that you forgot about. I can't tell you how many women have said, I say to them, what was your dream as a child? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. Well, what would you like your life to look like in 5 years? Well, I want to be happy. Well, what does happy mean? And then we talk about what happy means to them. Well, then what does that mean to you? And we tear away those layers, like the layers of an onion. We peel them away until we get to that core essence of who you really are and what you're here for and what you're supposed to be doing.
Wow. I'm just really listening to this because I think the beauty of this conversation is you broke it down to two things: fear and love. Which one would you choose? And gratitude is a representation of love. It's a tangible thing that shows love. And that I can really see that, because every time we turn our fear around to the being thankful for whatever happens, no matter how tragic, or, like you said, your daughter left when she was 3 months shy of being 20, and that would be probably the most devastating thing that could ever happen to a mother. And yet your God, the angels, your guides, your daughter even said, Shirley, this is the time. Here's your opportunity. Yes or no. And you said
that's
yes.
Really important. And I think it's really important to point out that this is a free will world. Not everything is completely destined. We get to make choices. And sometimes we make choices that are not for the best for us, but we get another opportunity later on to make that choice again, to rectify a bad choice. And so I could have said no, and the opportunity would have come around again in a different way.
Well, I'm really glad, Shirley, that you said yes to become the soul whisperer. And I'm sure the people in the audience who are listening, I think they're probably going to come back and listen to this again and again. Can you tell me how we can find out more about you and your services?
Well, of course I can tell you that. I do have a website, and that is www.shirleygrosor.com. You can also find me on Facebook as Shirley Grosor, Soul Whisperer. And there are links that you can, connect with me and ask me questions, make appointments with me. I would be happy to share my knowledge and what I perceive to be my truth, and to help others come to love and accept themselves. And to me, that's what it's all about. I embraced, okay, this is who I am, and this is what I do, and this is my gift. And if I can do it, anybody can. And that, what I mean is, you can live in your true inner knowledge, with your true inner knowledge, and you can be your true authentic self.
Shirley, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tammy. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today.
This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tammy Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.